you know what else?
And I get it too.
You know what else I'm hot with you about? Seriously, it's the one thing. You have not blessed the world with your DNA. Bruh,
It's a pretty weird statement to say, right? For a man to say that to another man, that's pretty weird.
we can't get a little Kevin Nita. Bro, we need this to continue, bro. You the only one on Netflix without an old lady.
I got a nephew, man.
Bro, you don't think, bro. I'm telling you.
He got the same blood, man.
KD, you don't want to be the 65-year-old man at the high school graduation. They calling you grandpa. Man, you gotta put a little Kevin in the world.
Nah, man. When that time gonna come, it's gonna come, man.
He got like a little Durant Springman or something like those.
Yeah, man. I got a lot of kids out here, to be honest.
They named that.
Looking up to me, man. I gotta set a good example every day, bro.
Set a good example. Get you a woman and set a good example in the bedroom.
Chill, man. Hey, dog.
Man. I was gonna play the second clip, but I want to start with the fellas. Robert, it sounded like you want to go in on it. That was a little disappointing to hear that.
Man, Kevin Durant is, he's a role model. He at least in my opinion, he's a very good basketball player. He does do a lot, like a lot of these uplifting stuff for the community and the youth. I don't know if y'all knew that, but he's a good guy. And the fact that this guy, I get, it sounded like he was trying to come from a place of like, hey, we need, but it's just that wasn't called for. That was so messed up, like you're making a positive thing to have baby mamas. And, he's trying to be an example of, just, hey, when it happens, it happens. And then when he told them, you don't want to be the 65-year-old in school thinking that you're a grandpa. His response was cool. So what, I don't know. I just find that very, like you said, it's disturbing. Why would you ask him that, Another grown man asking him, be an example in the bed.
Yeah. Well, I guess the concern that I had is he was asking him to have children, but not saying, hey, man, you need a wife. Like, why aren't you married yet? Why aren't you, settled down yet? Why haven't you, found a wife, you know what I'm saying? And played that role. And then, okay, have your children and things of that nature. Why are we trying to normalize baby mamas and baby daddy behavior? Why is that something that needs to be normalized? And what we do know about a lot of these athletes out there, NBA, Major League Baseball, and the likes, they tend to go bankrupt after they finish playing. And a lot of the reason behind that is they have a lack of discipline. They have a bunch of baby mamas and they're living a lifestyle that they can't afford once they're finished. And 5 years after the fact, they're typically broke. A large percentage of these guys. And Kevin Durant has earned almost $600 million in his career just from playing basketball. And I respect the fact that he doesn't have a bunch of baby mamas out here and he's trying to protect the hard-earned money, that he's earned. It comes from a two-parent-led household. And it's obvious that he was raised right, properly. Josh, I want you to get in there, man. What are your thoughts?
We see the comedy of it, and then we see the serious part of it. The comedy part is, let me make it awkward and ask you a real question to ease something as a man. Don't you want to push your legacy? That's really what he's basically saying. Like, don't you want to push your legacy? He just had a weird way of doing it that most conservative people will be like, what the H is, what are you talking about? If you know his history, you probably know the other stuff that he said on that show that's absolutely crazy, especially when he said to Kevin Hart that him and his wife go to nude beaches and stuff. That was a whole other thing. Me being a man who was raised by his mother, my father would come in every once in a while. I was never taught to be all over the place. It was all about having good character. And some people ask me questions like, why don't you have kids? And probably like Durant, like, I haven't found a person, like he's probably saying, I haven't found a person that's worth me putting my seed into to carry on his legacy. In his perspective, also, he's probably dealing with a lot of people that want the fame and they want the money from him but not want him. So it's probably hard for him to find love and trust people, right? It's very rare to hear other guys speak from that perspective too, because some dudes, I don't think a lot of men have kids on purpose. I think some people have kids out of accident. So it's kind of crazy that he doesn't have kids. I didn't know that he didn't have any kids and he wasn't married. I don't like space. I don't follow sports. Like everybody be knowing these cats' stats and all that stuff. I don't know anything about Kevin Durant. It's gonna be sad. I don't even know what team he plays for. That's how bad it is for me. Like I don't know anything, but I do respect his response. Like he kept it mature. That was a good way of responding. And man, how old is? Do we know how old Kevin Durant? Like
he's under 40, over 30. He's in his 30s.
He still has time.
Yeah, he's not an old guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's plenty of dudes that get married, you know, in their 40s and 50s and have children. It's not that big of a deal, you know.
Wise, I got a question for you. If you was talking to Kevin about that question that was asked, what would you talk to him about from that specific?
Well, one, I would let him know, hey, I definitely appreciate your answer. And the way he's been able to navigate the world of being a celebrity, being a multimillionaire, having women, you know, throw themselves at him. I mean, we know that this happens. They throw themselves, and the fact that he has shielded himself from putting himself in the uncomfortable and sometimes volatile position of becoming a celebrity athlete baby father, and having your name ran through the mud, having your family's name ran through the mud. I mean, we see what's going on with PJ Washington. I mean, I think we all saw those clips, you know, of what happened, you know, with him and Brittany Renner. Yeah. And there's so many other stories out there, right? The one thing that I can say that I would tell him, one is, dude, as long as you're in this situation that you're in, no different than what I would tell military members that are in deployable status, stay single. As long as you're traveling 60, 70% of the time, you really don't have the time to focus and dedicate to a wife, to a family, the way that you actually need to. So I would tell him keep operating exactly the way he's operating. And, you know, one, be very cautious at who you choose to be your wife, because it's a very, very, very important decision. And women do one or two things. They're either going to help lift you up or they're going to drag you down like an anchor. It's never in between. There's no middle ground, you know, with this. The woman you get, she's either going to be a real helper or she is going to drag you to the pits, you know what I'm saying, at the bottom of the ocean like an anchor. Simple as that, man. You know, so it's an extremely important decision that one is making, you know, when they go in that. And hey, I don't have a problem at all. No different than what I would tell some of my young military folks out there that are in deployable status. That is the big problem with a lot of us, is that we get married too early and we're not home enough and we're not mature enough to handle the situation. And if you look at your professional athletes, a lot of them, they marry too early because they have all this money. They marry the wrong person, and they're also not around long enough, and they're not around enough to really foster the relationship the way they need to. You know what I'm saying? When you're traveling 60, 70% of the year, it's really difficult to be a good husband. You know, it's very difficult to be a good father when you're traveling like that. And the thing is that what people got to understand is that money doesn't replace time in that relationship that you're going to build. Money doesn't do that. I mean, there are some women out there that say, I don't care, you know, as long as he can buy me bags and this, that, and the third, it doesn't matter. But for the most part, you know, especially with the children, they could care less about what you buy them. They really remember, you know, those events that you made, you know, the ball games that you showed up to, the recitals that you showed up to. Those are the things that matter a lot. Can you coach the team? You know, even if you don't know anything about the sport, can you just be there? Those are the memories that you'll have 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So I don't have a problem, you know, with his statement. And I definitely appreciate the fact that he's showing some discipline in a world where so many guys lack that same type of discipline that is necessary.
When it comes to basketball players, I'm a big sports guy myself. When it comes to basketball players, football players, just pick a sport. It's a little different for these guys. They just can't go out, have kids all willy-nilly, you know, like I would like to, you know, because you know what I think. I think you should be fruitful, but that's a whole nother subject. You know, we ain't gonna open that can of worms. But anyway, when you have hundreds of millions of dollars involved, we just talked about how a woman's test is material, and more than not, women tend to take the money over the man. You know, So they'll go out, they'll make up some reason, divorce the guy, take a quarter, half of his wealth, assets, property, whatever else they can get, and then move on. You know, and there's just not much incentive when you get to these really high value kind of guys, to get married outside of the religious aspect of getting married. They don't really see the benefit in it for them, because these women did not take the time to build with these guys when these guys had nothing, you know. And that's one thing that women underestimate about guys, okay? Especially guys who have drive and who have ambition, okay? There's a lot of late nights working, there's a lot of lonely nights, there's a lot of wanting somebody to be there. And these guys, they grind, they grind, they grind, but they build that little bit of resentment as they grind. Okay? And that's why when these guys finally get their money together, they're not really the nicest guys when it comes to women. Okay? Because I told you on a different episode that guys want women who will struggle with them. Okay? The day one will always be treated way different and will hold a different place in that man's heart than some chick who shows up that once he's made it. Okay? It's two totally different people. She knows who you really are. You know? When you was riding that hoopty, like Wise was telling me earlier, I'm riding my hoopty. I met my wife. I ain't had no money, broke, but she really liked them. So guess what? Their first date was probably chicken wing and fries.
I'll have to ask my wife what the first date was. I think it might have been Golden Corral. Might have been.
Yeah. It wasn't no roof Chris, though. I can tell you that.
No, I've never taken her to Roof Chris. We can't afford Roof Chris. Are you kidding? But what do you say to, a Kevin Durant who is a single man right now, who is worth hundreds of millions of dollars? How does he navigate eventually, once he's done playing ball and things of that nature? How does he navigate finding somebody that is actually into him in comparison to, someone who knows all his stats and they know like, hey, this dude's made a bag. I need to get a piece of that. How does he navigate that? Or does he just stay single for the rest of his life?
Well, let me answer your question with a question. All right. If I gave you beef for free every day, would you ever buy a steak?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how these guys feel about women. They get it for free all day, every day. Okay. Why would I ever marry you? It's getting it for free from several women in several different states, even internationally. Okay. What's these men's incentive to marry anybody? There is none. That's why I say get them on the struggle, because once they get to where they're going, they do business different.
Yeah, and then they may, do the Michael Jordan or do the Bezos and, get divorced, leave wifey with a big old bag and do it all over again. I want to get one of the ladies in there, Dion or Crystal, if you guys want to respond.
I would say I love that Kevin is not just spilling his seeds everywhere, because the Bible speaks about that. And he is, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Durant is a Christian. He's one of the Christian athletes. So I appreciate that he's not out there doing that. And people forget legacy, it starts being built from the very beginning before you even get married, because it's the mission that you have for yourself. It's the values and the character that you have for yourself that you'll carry on throughout each generation. I think Kevin Durant, if he trusts God, he will find the right woman for him. He will definitely find the right woman for him. But I agree. Like, I feel like tonight is therapy night for Crystal. Anyway, my ex, the one that had the multiple children, when I first met him, though, he picked me up in a beat up work van with his steel toe boots, because we met online and then I flew up to meet him in person, and we went to Ruby Tuesdays. It was a very simple date, and he he was like, you're so cool. Like I didn't have a problem jumping up in the work van and riding around with him when I didn't know much about his business or what he did, and I didn't care because he was a nice guy who kept his word, a man of character. When he was doing he used to sell chemicals for mobile detailers. I got up in the box truck and I was driving the box truck for him. I was out there helping deliver the chemicals to the mobile detailers. I didn't care. I was there to help him. Little did I know that he had a lot of money. But I'm like Celeste and like Dion. I'm not sitting here banking on your bank account. That's your bank account. And I was concerned about his bank account. I was concerned about who he is as a person, and if we're compatible. And I think Kevin Durant just needs to deal with a woman. I mean, I know he's rich and famous, but deal with the woman that's okay with you. I'm not about to be dropping babies that I can't be with. I have to have baby mamas that are over here losing their mind, want to take me to court every 5 seconds. It's not necessary. Like, he was like, I don't want that for his life. But misery loves company. I don't know this man and what his bank account, like if he has baby mamas, when I was asking him the question. I don't know this man, but misery loves company. So a lot of men would be like, why you ain't have one yet? Why would you want me to get into the same problems that you were going through? Like, what kind of friend are you? You should be saying, nah, you doing it right. You doing it right. Wait until you find the right woman, because you don't want to be wrapped up in the court system, struggling, not being in a nuclear family the way God created. And that's the way he knows it, because he was raised right. So keep it up, Kevin. I'm actually proud of you.
No, I actually appreciated the fact that he put it out there, and he wasn't ashamed to say, hey, I don't have any kids, and I don't have any baby mamas. I think that's a good thing. And it's almost a rarity, in this day and age of, rappers, entertainers, athletes out there. You'd be hard pressed, to find these guys, without, at least one, maybe two, women that he's sponsoring in the name of a baby mama. Dion, I want to give you the words.
Can I just say this real quick?
Yeah,
no, I'm not with him anymore, because people are asking in the comments. I'm not with him anymore because we are not politically aligned. So that was a no.
Now I have questions for you guys, for the ladies. How early on in the process of meeting a guy do you ask, hey, what is your, what are your thoughts politically? What side of the aisle, or what's your affiliation? Or do you avoid those conversations in general?
Immediately
No,
now.
I'm super early on that.
Yeah, my question is, are you okay with a woman with kids? My kids are grown. If you have an issue, then we are not going any further. Do you believe in God, and do you have a relationship with Jesus? Don't tell me that you believe in God and that's it. You better have a relationship with Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. We're going to discuss scriptures, so you better know some scriptures for this conversation to continue. And I'm going to ask, who did you vote for? If you didn't vote, who would you have voted for? And if they say they stand for Kamala, if they say Kamala, black men for Kamala, or white dudes for Kamala, I'm out. Immediately, I'm out.
So no black dudes for Kamala and no white dudes for Kamala. Okay.
I don't want to hear nobody with Kamala. If you say Kamala, I'm walking out.
But I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Like, share, subscribe, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family, or you can buy your brother a coffee. The link's in the description box below. I appreciate the support, the love. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
We won't stop. I won't quit. Stand for the truth. No counterfeit. Real ones rise. Let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies. Let the darkness